I'm the writer, director, and producer of the film Taharuki, also known as Suspense.
You can't kill all of us.
I don't have to. You always end up killing each other.
I've had a long love for murder mysteries and whodunit kind of stories, although I've never tried to write one. And I had an idea about a female character who, she was faced with the sudden death of her husband and decided to find out what happened to him, and gets led on this adventure as she is trying to find the killer, her husband's killer. And I started developing that as a feature film that I wanted to write and direct. And but it will be my first feature. And so in preparation for that, I thought it might be interesting to start with something smaller that could be used as a prequel for that story.
I'm Kia Barbie, co-producer of Suspense. I was asked by Ekwa if I was interested in coming on board to be our producing partner. When she brought the script in to be read, it was very interesting. So it was an easy decision to say yes and come on board. So that's initially how it was brought on, and as the script developed and the story developed, I became really excited about the project.
I grew up in Kenya. I've lived there for several years and have witnessed many years of tension and violence that have taken place in the country. But what took place in 2007 was definitely the worst that it's been, in decades at least, in terms of the casualties, in terms of, just a lot of cover-ups, a lot of sort of shady dealings that took place.
My name is Chris Kamau, and I play the character of the intruder. Ekwa told me about this project, and I've been thinking of doing something. I've worked with Ekwa before, but not something like this. But in our discussions, she explained what it was. Something to do with the event that actually changed our lives because of what happened in Kenya after the 2007 elections. The elections themselves were very peaceful, conducted very nicely. Now, all hell broke loose when the results started trickling out, and then somebody realized that, wait a minute, there's something that's not quite kosher going on over here. And the people felt that they had been robbed of their right, their vote, because there are people who really value that vote, because that vote is actually, it's their choice. So when you take away that vote away from them, take away that choice away from, especially they've been so frustrated for such a long time, and this is their chance for change, you're playing with fire. There was an explosion. There was rage. There was pent-up anger and frustration, and it just came out in the worst possible form. We had a situation whereby we had women and children who went into a church to seek refuge, burnt down in that church. This had never happened before. Because we've always respected the sanctity of the church, that we've always respected the relationship between God and man. We just saw a side of the country that we had never seen before, because there was so much anger, there was so much frustration, there was so much tension. It was just there, just bubbling, just simmering under the surface. The reason why there was so much violence against a particular community was that, actually the president's community, was that because we cannot get to the president himself or his inner circle, whatever, the only way we can get through him is to get to you. So we will kill you, we will rape you, we will take your livestock, we will take your property, we will burn down your houses. That's because that's how we feel.
But what struck me the most as, just something that was really disturbing and sad about that experience was the fact that after weeks and weeks of carnage, and this was on the news, and it was this huge, emotional, trying, scary time, then the leaders of the country essentially came on TV and had like a ribbon cutting and was just like, never mind guys, it's over, we're friends again, just kidding. And it was kind of like, what do you mean just kidding? We just had like a freaking genocide in the country. How are you just kidding? How are people just supposed to go back to life the way it was? And I do believe that because there was so much that was never addressed, the things that were just completely swept under the carpet, and you know, the focus was like get the country back on track and forget what happened, and we're back. You know, and so I had all of those thoughts when I was working on the feature, and then decided to do the prequel and tried to think of how I can bring the two together. And so, you know, the story isn't just about post-election violence, because, well, first of all, there's no way I can talk about post-election violence in about 10 minutes. And it's so large and so wide and expansive, there's no way I can do any justice to it as a topic of discussion. Nor am I the best versed person to have that kind of political discourse. What I can talk about are human emotions that are involved, and to just focus on very specific people who are fictional people.
My name is Gilbert Awar, and I'm playing Kevin Mushana. I first heard about the project through Ekwa, the director, and Ekwa and I actually went to primary school together, grade school in Kenya, and both ended up in New York many years later, and she knew I was acting, and I heard that she was directing. And then this came up, and she talked about the project, this specific project, which to me was very important because I had family members who were very closely involved in the whole election process that is the center of this story. So in that sense, it was a story that was very close to home in more ways than one. And that drew me to the project, just the chance to collaborate with Ekwa on this and to tell a story that has a lot of meaning and speaks about the people where I grew up. It's not every day you get a chance to do that in New York City. I can definitely relate to Kevin in the sense that he was outside of the whole political process of what was happening, as far as the corruption and the people who were directly involved. So as a journalist, Kevin is a journalist, I think he feels that extra bit of obligation to get involved in some way, and he ends up getting involved, getting in a little too deep, and he delves into it a little farther than he should, and it's all in good, out of a good place. He's trying to effect the cause, but he oversteps the bounds and gets in a little trouble, and that's pretty much where the story picks up.
Kevin, nini kimetokea?
It's too late. The war has started.
I was talking to some artist friends of mine and, really beginning to question what we were doing as artists to help our community, to help our society, our region, because it didn't just affect Kenyan people, it affects everybody in the region. What we were doing to discuss that. I do feel very strongly that as artists, it's our role. It has been our role for centuries. Artists are always at the forefront of change, political change, social change, whatever it is. And in terms of providing a voice or providing an avenue for people to express themselves in a safe way. And so I really just started thinking about what my role was and what our role was in general as young people who were witness to this, either in the country or outside of the country. And what were we doing about it? What were we saying about it? Or were we also just playing into the idea of we were fine and everything was cool and we were just kidding? Because, for people who are still displaced and have no homes to go or lost their families or, just saw this horror, it wasn't kidding for them. It was for real. And it still is, and it will be for the rest of their lives. It's a disservice to those people to act like this never happened.
Initially, it was important because it was the beginning of a larger story, which the larger story was what I had originally read. So when the whole idea to make like a prequel to that story, that just was extremely intriguing. So it's just the opportunity to see it at its beginning stages.
My name is Miriam Chamos, and my character is Waridi. I got a script from my friend Ekwa, who wrote and is directing this film. Ekwa and I went to school together in Kenya. We were in high school together and we lived in the same area, with neighbors. And we kept in touch, obviously. I lived in New York and she does too. And so she invited me to play Waridi. The subject matter is something that I lived to see. Even though I wasn't in Kenya, I actually witnessed all the violence and post-election violence with people at home, and I got involved in a group of Kenyans here who were trying to help the situations, help the victims. It was very sad to watch that on national and international television. So it means a lot to me as an actress to portray my character Waridi, who is a very intense woman who is in the middle of what's going on, trying to do the right thing. There's a lot of undercover stuff going on there. That she's a part of the movement to stop the violence and to redeem the situation. And she's a no-nonsense lady, but she's also she plays an undercover agent, you know. But yeah, the character finds herself in a very weird situation. I mean, you know, it's pretty intense. I mean, my job is just to really show the intensity of the moment and of possibly what a lot of people went through in being in these situations where it's different people from different ethnic groups trying to come together as opposed to being torn apart.
They were trying to club him to death, so he needs to look battered and bruised.
Okay. You should see the other guys though. They look a lot worse than I do. There was something about seeing my language written in that format, and so well written as well. That was very, I don't know, it was refreshing. And to see that this is someone I knew who went to school with me, who's now trying to bring this kind of work to this level. That was my initial thought. That was my initial reaction when I read it off the page. It was just exciting to see that. But then also the familiarity of the story and to see the possibilities that this could be a really major film that, you know, would speak to people definitely in my country, in Kenya, and absolutely all over the African continent, where this kind of thing with elections always happens in some shape or form. Surrounding elections, there's always some kind of turmoil that some group of people suffer from, and half of us don't even hear about it. So to be able to tell this story that speaks about people from where I grew up and the entire continent, I think is an invaluable experience, and will shed a lot of light for people in the entire continent, people in the world. If the film gets to be seen all over the world, hopefully it gets people to pay attention in a way that they haven't in the past.
Well, the story, you know, as any political drama, it's always good to see from the perspective of the underdog, sort of. And being that it is based on true events, it just heightens it, because I think that it'll make them want to go and research what this was all about, what's going on here in Kenya, and just be excited about the sweet justice, which will tell, you know, more of the journey of those in the underground trying to fight for what's right.
In any society, there's always people who are conflicted about what they do. Because my character is, I would say the character is very complex, because he goes home to his wife, his children, is a loving father, but when it's business. And my business happens to be a very shady business of trafficking children. For whatever reasons, I really don't care. You give me the money, I give you the children. I can detach myself like that, because it's a commercial transaction at the end of the day. And chances are that the children that I'm trafficking in are actually not children from my community, because we value our children. These are just orphans you pick up from the street, etc. And it's an avenue for for business, and we have to live somehow. I have to eat something, So this movie is very, very important because it's set against the backdrop of something that literally changed the country. That also helped us. That violence and that hatred and all that killing and rape, etc. It helped us come face to face with the fact that we have an issue in that country. We have to deal with it.
Kunadawa, kunadawa. Ah, there you are. You took off with my children. That wasn't very nice.
It's very interesting. The industry there is very different because we've been kind of shut off for so long. All our entertainment has come in through Western avenues. So when you see something that has just something small, like a shop that you recognize, or a car that you recognize, or people that could be you, or your relatives, your friends, it does something to you. You just feel good about it. I mean, there's nothing. The sound may suck, the camera work is all wobbly, whatever. But it's just like, this is me. I'm seeing me over there, But what it means is that people are getting in. They're coming into their own. So the next stage is gonna be, okay, wait a minute, guys. Okay, fine. We're doing ABC. Now let's shoot something quality, because now we get the stage where people are entering their productions into like film festivals, regional film festivals, Zanzibar Film Festival. Fespaco, Ouagadougou, just ended. And out of that, you get something. Sometimes you get diamonds in the rough, like Slumdog Millionaire. You all have to start off somewhere, and that's exactly what we're doing here with Suspense.
I sought particular people out, particular crew members, particular cast members that I wanted to work with, that I thought would be good energy for me. People who I thought could help me to create what it is that I wanted to create, who could help me think about it, who would be positive people to bounce ideas off, who could bring their own skills to the table. And I'm happy to say that I was right. Everyone has just really gone above and beyond.
There was one major challenge with the location in which we shot and just getting that production ready. Because it was a very small space, and we just had to turn that into many things. A shop, a costume shop, a warehouse. It was challenging, but we got it together.
I felt great working with these particular actors and their performances. They, as I mentioned, my actors are people that I've known. I didn't hold auditions. I called each one individually and told them what it was that I wanted to do, and got immediate absolutely, let's go do it. My actors flew in from LA, from Atlanta, to come and do this project with me, out of their own pockets, took their own expenses to come and help me to create this. And they brought 200% of their A game to the table and just, took it to town, really took it upon themselves to embody the characters and tell the best story that they could. We did have some phone conferences to discuss, just everything that we felt. There's so many issues to do with even just sort of the accents. We went as deep as talking about, where are these people from? What part of, what's their educational level? What part of the country are they from? Exactly what city, what town are we talking about? So therefore, what schools did these people go to? So how would they sound? How would they pronounce this word? How would they think about this? What would their experience have been? The complexion of your skin versus the complexion of this other person's skin. What does that do in this kind of a relationship? What kind of things are these people thinking about? And they just really, really took it, as far as they could possibly take it, which is it's so exciting for a director to be able to work with that, you know, with people who are actually, it was a collaboration. I didn't give them anything, you know, it was completely a collaborative process of the best kind. Yeah.
The most I can do is just bring out the intensity, the emotion, and authenticity in language and you know, just delivering the character. I think I can do that. I know I can do that.
For me, it was really, it was cool to see how all the cast and crew who came on board just become more and more devoted to the project and just pitching in to do whatever they can. And it became about the project, not about, well, you know, a paycheck, or I'm just going to do this because someone asked me to do it or Equa asked me. Really, everyone was excited about the project. So that was the biggest thing that stood out to me about this production.
There's certain crew members that I wanted to work with, like Kia, who was my co-producer, like Milton, who was my director of photography.
How do you feel about the shoot so far, Milton?
I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
That's pretty I don't feel when I'm shooting. That's the problem.
Okay.
I'm just shooting.
Okay. That's good.
Like Virginia, who was my art director, like Carlos, who's my sound designer, you know, people like that that I actually wanted to collaborate with and didn't want to have to wait for years and years to do that. So, you know, I thought it would be great to just put something together.
I'm making post-Halloween blood. Beautiful. Look at that dark, rich, almost black, like almost. So this is hopefully how it will. Yeah, look at that. The secret to good blood. A little bit of blue and a little bit of green.
I went after a group of people that I knew and told them what it was that I wanted to accomplish. And you know, so they were on board, and then in the places where I had gaps, they brought other people that they thought would fit to the team or to the project, to my personality, to their personalities, people that they love to work with, and you know, so it became this really amazing love fest, so to speak. You know, just everyone really stepping up. You know, it was a very beautiful union. I would love for all of my productions in the future to be that way. I think it makes a very big difference to work with people that get you. Post-election violence, Kenyans working together, young people, love, those are all issues that people think have various feelings about. Like, you know, it's a very wide spectrum of how people feel about those things. So I expect to get a very wide spectrum of response in terms of people loving it and hating it and being offended by it and feeling like it was spot on and feeling like it was talking about them and feeling like those people completely can never exist. I expect the full gamut of response to this film, which is great. You know, I mean, the purpose of this was not for people to love my film. It's certainly not for people to hate my film, but it's to get people to think and to feel. And as long as you're doing that, however that takes place, then great. My job has been done. As long as you're thinking and feeling about something, I'm very happy, and my goal would have been met.